The bike in the shop today has not one, but two 1500 watt hub motors, a big 30 amp hour battery that can take a small human up to 80 miles. Through both wheels, it cranks out 192 Newton meters, and it's got a 28 mile an hour top speed. At least, that's what it says on the website. But we'll find out for sure when we take it outside for a spin, where I'll put it through all of these real world tests. But just before that, and while I charged a 30 amp hour battery with the supplied 2 amp charger, let's take a closer look at everything you get on the Euybike S4 Pro. And why don't we start with the beauty shots? Cue the B-roll. Let's start out back. The S4 Pro rolls on a set of 20-inch diameter, 4-inch wide CST fat tires. I've ridden these tires on a lot of other bikes before. This tread pattern does well on and off-road. For the drivetrain, you get a typical 7-speed Shimano tourney derailleur, a 7-speed Shimano freewheel, a pretty large chain ring that's protected with a guard, some solid cranks, and some plastic pedals. The bike comes with plastic fenders front and back. Here's a close-up look of the rear suspension linkage. It's a pretty simple setup with a triangle in the back, a triangle up front, and a shock in the middle. The shock's pretty basic though. There's no settings like preload or compression or rebound, and there's no air valve to put any air inside. What you get is what you get. Hopefully it's sprung tight enough so I don't bottom it out, and not too tight so I can actually get some travel out of this thing. Look at this seat. It's beautiful. Almost looks like real leather, but I'm sure it's not. It's got a lot of padding and it's super wide. This is gonna be nice and comfortable for our ride. And here's a shot of the back of the bike. Looks like there's a license plate holder here in case you did want to insure the bike. And inside here looks like there's a bunch of different LED lights. From what I heard, they're even RGB. We'll find out when we turn the bike on in just a sec. But first, let's take a look at the front of the bike. So like I said earlier, this is a dual motor bike and it has two of these 1500 watt motors. Here's the one in the front. Everything here is locked with some torque washers so that the wheel doesn't come out. Nice and secure. The front fork looks like it has a ton of travel, but it actually only goes down to about here, which is only about 2 inches. The S4 Pro also has some huge brakes. Look at these things. These are 4-piston hydraulic Logan brakes that bite onto 203 mil rotors. It's the exact same setup in the front and in the back. This should give us tons of braking power, but it does have a compression knob here on the right. The bike comes equipped with a big LED headlight that's integrated into the controls, as well as some turn signals front and back. We'll turn these on in just a sec, but first let's take a look at the controls. So you get a nice short stem here, as well as some low-rise BMX handlebars. They've got a little bit of a back sweep that should make it nice and comfortable. And they're actually pretty wide, so I should have a nice stable grip on the road. Here's what the controls look like. On the right, you get an ergonomic grip, a half-twist throttle, as well as a 7-speed Shimano shifter. And on the left, you get the same grip. There's no lock on here. Looks like you can actually twist it pretty easily. There's a button for the horn, as well as a remote for all the bike's electronics. You get a plus and minus button to go up and down your pedal assist modes. If you hold this one, it'll turn the lights on. Power button up here and mode button down here. Everything's right here on one remote. Nice. I'm gonna hold the power button here, turn the bike on. Wow, look how bright this thing is. So if I hold the headlight button here, it should turn it off. This makes the screen even brighter for daytime when you're not running lights. You get a battery meter up top. There's no percentage at all, but it looks like you have 9 battery lights, as well as the last one here in red. The number here reflects the pedal assist mode you're in. It goes from 1 all the way up to 5. And there's also 0 if you feel like pedaling the bike without any power. In the middle here, obviously, is your speedometer. I've got it set in miles an hour right now, but it does go to kilometers an hour. There's a small icon here that shows which motors are on. Right now, both motors are on. And then down here at the bottom, you get your trip, odometer, time spent on the bike, as well as max speed and average speed. Nice. Okay, let's see what the lights look like shining up against the wall. I'm going to turn the bike on. So it looks like you get some daytime running lights. That's just the LED halo shining around the light just to give you some extra visibility during the day. But when we turn the headlight on, holy, look at this thing. This is one of the widest headlights I've ever seen. This will light up the entire road in front of you. Very, very nice. And it's super bright too. That's impressive. And here's a shot of the front of the bike. The bike's off right now. We'll turn it on. So this is the daytime running light. Pretty simple, just an LED halo around the headlight. And when we turn the headlight on, nice and bright, wide beam. Love this headlight. And here's a shot of the rear of the bike. The bike's on right now, so there's no daytime running lights with the LED back here. But when we turn the lights on, look at this thing. It's got full RGB in here, so it looks like it cycles through all the colors it can do. Let's use the turn signals. There you go. Goes orange and right. And then when we turn it off, just goes back to RGB party. Let's see what kind of speed we can get without any weight on it here in the studio. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm just in rear motor mode here for inside. I'm gonna go all the way to pedal assist number 5 and crank the throttle. 33.9 miles an hour. Nice. Good morning, everyone. Today we're on board the S4 Pro from Euybike. Taking it out for its first spin today. We're gonna find out what this bike's all about. And guys, hopefully you know by now, my philosophy on reviews is just to show you tests that you can see. There's gonna be a couple of things I need to touch on, things that I feel on the bike, but every test I'm gonna show you, you're just gonna be able to see the performance of the bike. You're gonna see how fast it goes, you're gonna see how well it accelerates, how well it climbs, it brakes, all of that. My goal for the video is to show you as much as I can about the bike so that you guys can make an educated decision whether this is the right bike for you or not. Let's see how fast it goes downhill. I definitely felt the motor stop giving me power once you kind of went over 30 miles an hour. But hopefully we can unlock this thing and really put it through its paces once we get to Test Drive Island. All right, you guys know what we do with a full battery charge. Let's do the hill climb right away, just so we can get the most performance out of this bike uphill. I'm gonna go in pedal assist number 5. I'm gonna start in single motor, see what just one motor can do. And then, as soon as the bike starts struggling a little bit, we're gonna kick in the other motor and then get the rest of the climb done. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, I got my GPS here and the bike speedometer side by side. GPS is a little bit slow, but we're getting up to about 18 miles an hour before the hill starts. And then on single motor, we're gonna settle at about 13 miles an hour, which is pretty normal, to be honest. Okay, let's hold the bottom button here. Now this is just front motor. Probably gonna give us about the same. And then let's kick in dual motor. Oh yeah. Dual motor mode is where it's at if you guys want to have fun up hills. There you go, 23, 24 miles an hour uphill. If you guys want a bike that doesn't struggle uphill, get something with 2 motors. It's a game changer. So right before we take the S4 Pro out to Test Drive Island, unlock the bike and find out its top speed, let's see how quickly it accelerates. I've got a lamp pole right here I always start at, and right up ahead is the driveway pullout. If I can get to 20 miles an hour, we got a fast bike. If not, well, there's faster out there. But with dual motors here, I really don't think this thing's gonna have an issue. You guys ready? I'm in dual motor mode right now, pedal assist 5. I'm gonna go throttle only. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah, a little front wheel spin. 17, 19, 22. Easy. money. Man, this bike feels so sporty. You know, it's a shorter wheelbase bike and just feels so nimble and quick and agile. And then you slap a second motor to the front and then you get the power. Man, this thing feels pretty good. So while we're getting to know each other, why don't I get some speed here and lean the bike over, really get a good feel for how grippy the tires are. These big fat tires have just so much grip. It's awesome. And you know what I love about this bike? Is it's short. The wheelbase is actually really short, so it's super nimble. If you're gonna ride this thing around the city, you know, getting up and down curbs and around those silly little gates they've got to control speed, this is what you want. A nice short and nimble bike. Time to find out what we all wanna know. Top speed of the S4 Pro. I'm gonna go dual motor, pedal assist number 5, as much power as we can. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah, front wheel spin. Got the GPS next to the bike speedometer here to keep us honest. Got 25 miles an hour already. 28. 29, still pulling a little bit. 30, 31. Yeah, 31 miles an hour is what I could get from this little guy today. Not bad. Now while we're testing the bike's throttle, let's do this. Let's see how responsive this throttle is. Some bikes out there, especially in the $1,000 range, it's just like an on-off switch. You get no control over how much power the throttle gives you. So let's try. I'm in pedal assist number 5 right now, the highest power mode, and in dual motor. Let's try and just crawl along and see. Yeah, there you go. Just like ever so slightly. Look at the screen right now. I'm just getting just a tiny bit of power. And if I just get a bit more out of the throttle, look at this, right? The power increases a little bit. Nice and controlled. And then if I just want to crank it, watch this. All the way up. Power into the red. Yeah. So really nice. I mean, with a bike with this much power, right? I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 2 1,000 watt motors. I mean, I think they peak at around 1,500 watts. That's a lot of power. And for a bike like that, you kind of want the ultimate control over that power, right? If it's just an on-off switch, you're gonna lose control of that bike. To be able to feather that power and just get a little bit, if you just need a little bit, is really nice. I mean, you know, it just gives you a lot of confidence in being able to control the bike. So moped-style e-bikes have never been known for their comfort while pedaling, but this bike does still have pedals, right? And it's got a nice big chain ring. So let's put it through a couple pedal assist modes, see how fast we can go, and see what the bike's like to pedal. So why don't I do this? I'm gonna go and get set up in the granny gear here. And I'm gonna go all the way down to 0. This is to simulate, you know, if we were to have a catastrophic failure with the bike, no power, batteries are dead. Let's see what the bike's like to pedal. So, like you guys can see, hopefully, the bike's pretty short, and so am I. And already, you know, my knees are coming up to the handlebar height. So it's not the most comfortable to pedal. It's doable, but that's not this bike's strong suit. Let's go to pedal assist number 1, see what that gives us. I'm gonna drop a couple of gears here because I'm ghost pedaling. There we go, gear number 4. Got about 10 miles an hour in pedal assist 1. Whoa. Okay, pedal assist 2, I've got about 17 miles an hour on the GPS. Oh man, like every step of the way, it just gives you so much more power. 22 miles an hour in pedal assist 3. $25 miles an hour in pedal assist 4. Here we go. 30, 31, 32. It feels so funny pedaling this bike. It's really not its strong suit. You can do it, but it's no fun. The other thing that's a little bit awkward when you're pedaling this bike is that the seat is a little bit square, right? Like a normal bike seat between your legs is a very, very small piece of material. But with a big bench seat like this one, I mean, there's a lot between your legs, right? So it ends up rubbing a little bit on the side of your thighs. You know, you might want to do it when you're crossing the street or when you're passing people on a bike path or something like that, just to show them that, you know, you are on a bicycle and it's okay for you to be there. But, you know, this isn't a bike you get to go out and, you know, get a bunch of exercise, right? This is a bike you get to ride like a little mini motorcycle with the throttle. So while we're testing the pedal assist modes, let's see how quickly the cadence sensor kicks in. This is pretty important to how quality the bike feels. So I'm gonna start pedaling now, and then power. You guys can definitely hear that. I've got it in dual motor right now, and the front motor is a little bit louder than the rear. I'm gonna start pedaling now. So it's about 2 full revolutions of the cranks before the motors get any power. Yeah, it's about 2 full revolutions of the cranks before any of the motors get any power. And then when you stop pedaling, you get about a second more of power just on its own. Almost like overrun on a electric mountain bike. You know, I wasn't expecting much. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, have a look on their website, but I believe the S4 Pro Max does get the option to get a torque sensor on there. So I think that's the main difference. Torque sensor on the Max, you get a slightly bigger battery at 30 amp hours. This is 25. And I think the rear shock is different. I think you get a little air shock on the Max, and this is a coil shock. So I want to test the suspension here. The S4 Pro's got a coil shock and a front fork here. So let's go over some potholes, see how well it deletes the potholes from our ride here. Not bad. It doesn't have a ton of travel, but it's doing a pretty good job. Yeah. Like I said, it's not like an off-road bike, right? It's got enough travel to just kind of delete the bumps, but it's not going to be like a dirt bike, right? That tracks the ground. It doesn't have a ton of travel back there. Or up here for that matter. Just kind of adds to the comfort, right? Okay, let's set up for the brake test. Here's the marker I want to stop at. I've got about a 20-foot distance to this first marker here. I'm gonna go at least 28 miles an hour with the S4 Pro here, and hopefully these 203 mil rotors, front and back, help me come to a stop. I got a lot of things going for me today. It's nice and dry. I've got big, thick, fat tires to grip the road, and some pretty beefy brakes on this thing. So I know for a fact the rear wheel is gonna lock up, that's for sure. I just hope that the front is not too strong, because I don't want to skid out on the front. I'm gonna go all the way back here, turn around, get some speed, and see how this thing brakes. Okay, 24, 26, 28 already, 27, 28, and brake. Oh my God. Holy. Guys, I've got another bike length left over. This bike can break. I mean, I'm not surprised. At the end of the day, I'm really not surprised. I mean, look at this, right? 4-piston Logan hydraulic calipers biting onto 203 mil rotors, front and back. That's as good as it gets, really. And on, you know, a bike like this, I mean, yes, it's heavy. It's got 2 motors, but it only has a single battery, so it could be worse for weight. As far as I'm concerned, everything going on with braking on this bike definitely gets a check mark from me. Okay, I've shown you how the S4 Pro handles on smooth road, rough roads. What about off-road? Let's take it to the beach. Now, these Chaoyang tires are on pretty much every bike we review. They're super popular. They're pretty well-rounded. They're not the thickest and deepest tread out there, so I don't know how much grip we're gonna get on the sand or the wet mud, which, you know what? I should probably do this. Before we get onto the wet mud here, I'm gonna hold the bottom button and just turn on the 1 rear motor. When we get to the beach, then I'll turn on the 2 motors and get as much power and torque as we can to get through that sand. But for now, let's go single motor, just to be safe. Hey. Oh yeah, slick here. Ooh. We got sand on the beach today. Oh yeah. Yeah. I got some air there. Wow. Okay. Let's get some power going. I'm gonna hold the bottom button. This turns the front motor on only. And when you see the lightning here for both wheels, that's when you know you've got power to both motors. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Whoa. There we go. Man, this thing has no problems getting out onto the sand. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's just keeping traction that's the issue. Yeah, oh dear. Oh man, 0 problems. Even starting from a dead stop, just go. So much power and torque with these 2 motors. Dirt surfing. Oh, I'm having way too much fun. Serious, Ben, stay serious. Woo. Okay, let's get off this thing. Ah! Woo, woo, woo. Okay, calm down, Ben, calm down. So I want to take 2 minutes and talk about ride and overall bike quality here on the S4 Pro. Let's start with the contact points. The grips suck. I'm gonna come out and say it. The grips are no good. I've had these grips on a few e-bikes before and they just suck. I mean, the quicker you replace these, the happier your hands will be on the bike. You know, they don't lock on, they're thick, they're stiff plastic, they're actually more slippery. You know, if it was just the handlebar, you'd probably get more grip on it. They're no good. You can twist them, they don't lock on, they're no good. Get some lock-on grips from Amazon with some nice soft rubber and your hands will be so much happier. Now the seat, however, is awesome. This is by far one of the most comfortable seats I've ever been on. I'm actually considering taking this seat and putting it on my Lyric Graffiti X because the seat on that thing got a little bit too thick, and I think this thing would look awesome on that thing. But I don't think the holes will match. But anyways, this seat's really good. It's not the best for pedaling. It's pretty wide between the legs, but you know, this isn't that type of bike. If you're gonna buy this bike, you're gonna buy it to ride it like a little motorcycle, throttle only everywhere. You know, my bum is very happy on this seat. And the pedals are cheap too, just like the grips. You know, for a bike like this, it's just a place to rest your feet. You're not gonna ride this thing standing up. You're not gonna need a ton of grips from the pedals, but they will wear out. And when it's time to replace them, I'd probably go with some nice aluminum pedals with some metal pins on there just to get really good grip. Next, let's talk about the sitting position on this thing. I mean, it's a shorter bike. I really don't see this bike fitting anybody taller than, you know, 6'2", 6'3" would be max on this thing. You know, I'm 5'9", and pedaling it, my knees almost, you know, they're already at my chest, right? So it's a short bike and it's a low bike. If you're a shorter rider or, you know, someone around my height and size, I think you'd be perfectly happy on this. For reference, I'm 5'9". I can touch the ground very, very easily, stand over the thing, have complete control, and I've got no problem swinging a leg over it. If you're shorter, however, down to, you know, maybe 5'5" or below, you're probably still going to be able to get on here, maybe, you know, tripod with one leg off to the side, but I don't think you're going to be able to reach the ground with both legs, right? For that, if you're really short, what I'd look at is the new Mini Goat. That thing is nice and low. Next, let's talk about the tires. The tires are okay. This is a pretty all-round bike, right? It's meant to go pretty much everywhere. Road, gravel, off-road, you know, it does everything. And these Chaoyang tires have been on a lot of bikes before, and I've got no problems with them. They're cheaper tires. They don't have the thickest and deepest tread out there, but you know what? Those just make the bike that much louder. So I'm pretty happy with these. The suspension on the bike is also okay. You know, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. It doesn't have the most amount of travel, but it definitely adds to the comfort. You know, if I had the choice between suspension seat post on a hardtail or this coil shock, I'd probably pick this coil shock. You can adjust the preload for your weight, and you know, I'm getting some decent travel out of it. It's pretty good. It does the trick. And same with the front fork. It's nothing to write home about, but it works. You know, it's got a few inches of travel and it just takes the bumps out of the road. How about those brakes though? The brakes on this bike are some of the best you can get out there. If you're concerned with getting an e-bike, a fast e-bike with a good set of brakes, come look at this bike, man. It's really, really good for braking performance. Big 4-piston Logan hydraulic brake calipers. The levers feel really, really good. They take mineral oil, super easy to maintain. You can adjust them to bring them in and out depending on how big your hands are. And you guys saw the braking power this thing gets. Man, those 203 mil rotors. I mean, I think every single e-bike should have a brake setup like this one. 4-piston calipers and 203 mil rotors on everything. And last, I want to touch on the electronics a little bit. Let's start with the screen. The screen's actually really good. It's colorful, it's very, very deep and contrasty. The blacks are black, the colors are rich. It's very easy to see. I've got sunglasses on and it's a cloudy day. You know, if it was direct sun, would it be any different? I don't think so. The screen is really, really bright and really easy to see. I actually like this screen. It doesn't give you a ton of information. There's literally just trip, average speed, your odometer, and the time spent on the bike, and that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of information for battery. You know, I've got a few battery bars. I think there's 10 in total, and it doesn't give you any voltage for the battery or any percentage or anything like that. You're just going to see the bars disappear. Pretty average for information. The throttle is really, really nice. You guys saw earlier how you can feather the power. If I just want a little bit of power, if I just want to go 10 miles an hour, even in pedal assist 5 with both motors turned on, I can just easily just feather that throttle, get a little bit of power, just stay in complete control. I really, really like the feel of this throttle. And I got the feeling that the guys that put this bike together really took care in putting the right programming inside the controller. The motors are really good. They've got a lot of torque, a lot of, pretty loud horn. Like I said, the motors have a lot of power, a ton of torque. I think they peak at around 1500 watts and have 1000 watts nominal. Really good power, you know, if you want a bike that loves to climb hills, loves to accelerate, and if you want to have the choice in getting range or speed and power, you can do that. You can turn the motor on and off up front. You can turn them off altogether and just pedal the bike. It won't be comfortable, but you can do that. Range report. I've just hit the middle mark here on my battery meter. That's 5 bars of battery left. Hi, puppy. And we've hit 16 miles on our trip so far. So, if in theory we're halfway through our battery, that means that we'd get over 30 miles on this bike right now. And with the 25 amp hour battery, that's not bad. My rule of thumb with most batteries is you're gonna get anywhere between 1 to 1.5 miles per amp hour that your battery has. That's worst case scenario. That's riding throttle only, dual motor, like in this case, right? Throw some hills in there, you know, that's bare minimum. You're gonna get 1 to 1.5 miles per amp hour that your battery has. You want more? Just lower the power level and maybe put in some of your own pedal power. You're gonna double that range, no problems. Right, so $1 million question. Who's the S4 Pro really for? Well, if you want a really torquey and powerful dual motor moped style e-bike for under 1,500 bucks, this is definitely a great option. Now, deciding between the S4 Pro and the Pro Max is going to be up to you. I believe the main difference is going to be a better rear shock on the Max. You get an air shock. Looks like you get a slightly bigger battery, a 30 amp hour versus a 25. And I believe you also get the option to get a torque sensor on the S4 Pro Max. So, you know, if it was me, for a moped style e-bike, I wouldn't really care about getting a torque sensor. That's really not what these bikes are all about. You know, 5 amp hour, larger battery, not that important. And then the air shock. You know, this feels great for me. If you're heavier than I am, the air shock might come in handy. If you're pushing 250 to 300 pounds, the Max might be the one for you. The bigger battery is gonna get you about the same range. You're gonna be able to pump more air pressure into that shock, getting you some more support and really dialing in the feel. If you're a heavier rider, I'd definitely shoot for the Max. But if you're around my size, 5'9", just under 200 pounds, this is great, man. So if the S4 Pro sounds like the perfect bike for you, check the link in the description, or you can scan this QR code with your phone's camera. That'll take you right to their website. It'll guarantee you the best price, whatever promotion they got going on. And right now, I'm battling with them trying to get a discount code for you guys. So if I do, it'll be right underneath that link. Do not forget to use it. And if the S4 Pro is not the perfect bike for you, that's okay. Maybe the bike in this video will be more of what you're looking for. I'll see you over there.